Weekly Sauce, episode 43 in the books. I mean, not in the books yet, but it will be in the books. My name is Terry Tam. As usual, I'm with my buddy Alex the Intercorleone. We have a special guest on this week. Before we get to him, don't forget Mike's BBQ Rub, MTL.com, and use hot sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. Mike's BBQ Rub, man, honestly, is the best thing you ever have. I don't know if they have it in South Dakota or anything like that, but with the truffle sauce, it's universal. It goes everywhere. It goes South Dakota. Even goes to San Diego State that I thought you played for. It can go. It goes everywhere. You can even go to Greece. We figured out a couple weeks ago. It goes to Lebanon with Imam Zahabi. So Mike's BBQ Rub, MTL.com. Use hot sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. So now Weekly Sauce episode 43. Alex, how's it going, buddy?
Super pumped, man. We have a great receiver, probably one of the best prospects we had with the Alouettes in a while, so I'm super pumped.
Super pumped, and that prospect you're speaking of is Jake Wieneke. Home, where are you at right now?
Maple Grove, Minnesota, suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
There you go. And how's it over there? How's the weather? Is it cold?
Oh,
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's getting nice. Today was a little rainy, but it's like got some 60s, 70s coming up. So we're happy. We'll take it in March. So
it's golf season.
Yeah, it's been good. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
You a golfer?
I am. I'm actually, I love golfing. My dad's a really big golfer. He's actually like a high school golf coach. So grew up golfing with him, and I've been golfing a lot lately. I got a 10-month-old son, so since he's been born, it's been a little tougher to get out. But man, every chance I can, every time the wife lets me get away, I'm gonna take advantage of it.
Every golfer says the same thing. It's when my girl lets me go, whatever. I have a very forgiving girlfriend. I played last year. I wasn't working last year, so I played like 50 times. I was just on fire.
Yeah.
And I brought my score down by like 10 strokes, so it was good. You know, now I'm hitting like 95, so it's not that bad. I'm like my handicap. I'm a 26 handicap, so it's not that bad from the blues because I like to drive. But yeah, it's addictive, man. Honestly, I'm gonna play golf until I'm 90. I think.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm gonna play till I'm dead. Like if I'm alive, I'm gonna be playing golf.
Well, if you're in town, May 29th, if you're in Montreal, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the football gods will allow you. There's a tournament. We have a golf tournament with the sponsor that I mentioned before. So if you'd want to play, we'd love to have you on if you want to come and hit the ball around. Marco Briette is probably going to play too.
Man, I would love that. I would absolutely love that, yes.
All right, let's get it done. We'll figure it out.
And you said DJ's coming as well too, right?
Oh, DJ, no, that was something else. But I might ask. DJ's never played. DJ Lalama. He doesn't play golf, but I challenged him and he said I'll play. It's because a friend of mine who was I don't think he's with the Alouettes anymore, but he was a defensive assistant last year, Vince Nardone. Yeah, he's a good golfer and he refuses to play with me. And he's a good friend of mine, but he not refuses, but he's ditched me a few times, you know. So it's this running joke. And DJ's like, okay, here's this. So you bring, I'll bring Vince, and you can bring anybody you want. So I said I'd bring Marco, but since you tell me your dad taught you how to play golf, I want to win this thing. Maybe I'll bring you. Like that's just like that's how it's gonna be, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely going.
So tell us what it was like, man. You were getting recruited out of high school, Minnesota kid, going to South Dakota. What was it like, man? Did you get any big school offers? Did you want to stay closer to home? What was it like?
Yes, I definitely want to stay closer to home. I mean, my dream school would have been University of Minnesota. Didn't get. Sorry, I keep getting the call.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, but I always wanted to go to Minnesota. Was hoping to get an offer from them. Ended up just getting a preferred walk-on from them and got an offer from South Dakota State. Went on a visit out to South Dakota State. It's in Brookings, South Dakota, middle of nowhere, South Dakota. And I remember my first time going there, I was like, oh, man, there's no way. I was like, came from the city, like suburbs of a big city. And I was like, I don't really want to go out here. But went on a visit, ended up meeting the head coach. Coach Stig was an amazing man, a great man of God. And I just fell in love with it. I actually committed on the spot on my visit. And then throughout my time there, just fell more and more in love with the city, with the community. And then football was a lot of fun too, and was able to have some success out there. So definitely grateful that I chose to go out there.
What's the city?
Brookings, South Dakota.
Okay. I never heard of it. I mean, South Dakota is always like, whenever I do, my girlfriend challenges me to name 50 states. I'm always first thing I always go South Dakota, North Dakota. It's the only time I know where to talk about them. It's the first thing I do. Alex?
Oh yeah.
So right after South Dakota, you were recruited by the Vikings, and you were super happy being, going to Vikings, because you're from Minnesota and playing for the Vikings was a big thing. So how did it feel to put on the Vikings jersey as a Minnesota kid?
Oh man, it was real. It was so much fun. So yeah, like right after my senior year of college, got signed with as a free agent with the Vikings. Went through all the OTAs, offseason stuff, preseason, training camp, and everything. And yeah, going through that whole process, getting to play with the guys that I grew up watching, just being part of the organization. It was so amazing, so much fun. I learned a lot, grew a lot as a player, and also just I got friendships still to this day from there. So grateful for that time. And yeah, putting on that jersey and playing and even just getting to get some catches, some touchdowns. It was such an amazing feeling. Yeah.
Did you choose number 9 or they gave it to you? I always wanted to know how the process worked.
So I was 19 in high school and college, and like that was my favorite number. But obviously with the Vikings, Adam Thielen is 19, so that's not really an option. And they just assigned me number 9, which actually isn't even an eligible number in the NFL.
Yeah,
but for preseason is fine. So I had that, and then ended up when I came to Montreal, I wanted 19, but it was taken. And then they gave me 9 for that, and it's actually an eligible number. So it was nice. Kind of stayed consistent, 19 and 9. So
the CFL eligible number. I mean, you can wear 70s in the CFL, and you're an eligible number.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In training camp, that's what they give us receivers. They give us all 70. Yeah. I got there first day. I was like 71 or 2. I was like, what is this?
I actually think in the NFL you're allowed wearing 70s too, because it's a number that you can close off the line with.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I think it has to be. I mean, offensive tackles they wear 50s to 70s, right? So I mean, but in the NFL, I think there has been guys that have worn 70s. Just it's not a nice number to wear when you're a receiver. I guess, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look that
good. So you play with the Vikings. Obviously, it was a dream come true to put on the jersey. A Minnesota kid. I feel like guys from Minnesota, it's like you're proud you're from Minnesota. It's like guys, it's like I'm from Minnesota. Like
absolutely,
it's like
absolutely, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah. It's like, where are you from? Wisconsin? Screw you. I'm from Minnesota. Like, and you guys have this weird pride. It's like you're almost Canadian, So like it's like people from Minnesota is like, oh yeah, it's cold there, so we respect them. Canadians respect you guys, Like it's like they know what it's like. They know the struggle of being a Canadian is, and you guys kind of have. Well, you don't, but I hear a lot of like Canadian accents from Minnesota, which is pretty funny to me. It's like I hear them and they sound like they're from Calgary, Alberta, which is great. They sound like they're from Winnipeg, which is pretty close, right? From what I gather.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, did you ever, when you were growing up, did you ever think that CFL was an option, or were you just NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I always was just thinking NFL, and then I remember I actually had he's like a legend at South Dakota State, Josh Ronick, and he came back and spoke to us, and he talked about how he played in the CFL for a long time. It's kind of the first time I was like, oh, it actually must be a pretty good league. It was the first time I really even considered it at all. But then even throughout college and everything, I'm like, I'm going to the NFL. Then all of a sudden, after I got released from the Vikings, then I actually went to the AAF, got released from the AAF. And then Montreal called me and asked if I wanted to go to the CFL. And I was like, let's do it. And then I ended up going, and just like, I realized just how amazing a league it was, how to fall in love just with the game, the different rules, the culture, the fan base, and then our team. I just loved our team throughout the coaching staffs and players. So yeah, it really kind of snuck up on me. I wasn't ever prepared or thought I was coming to the CFL, but now like I love it. So I'm enjoying every second.
The CFL itself, I personally stopped watching it after Calvillo. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Calvillo. After Calvillo left, we had so many bad years with the Alouettes. Like, no offense to Johnny Manziel.
The CFL in a whole struggled after Calvillo was kind of left because he was a big star.
Yeah. I've noticed the ratings went down after Calvillo left, and right now it's picking back up. Right now I see Vernon Adams. Vernon Adams is the one who made me fall in love with the Alouettes again. Okay.
Yeah.
And the way he plays, the way he stretches the plays, that's what really got me going, and it got me with the Alouettes. I wanted to know, because me growing up, I loved Anthony Calvillo, You for yourself, like who's the wide receiver that inspired you to play that position while growing up?
I mean, there's been a lot. There's a lot even now that I like to watch and learn from even. But I mean, Randy Moss, growing up in Minnesota, especially. I mean, he's one of the. I mean, I think top two receivers of all time. So I watched a lot of him and watched a lot of his highlights. Even to this day, I was watching it a couple of days ago, watching some Randy Moss highlights.
3 catches, 3 TDs, 140 yards.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, he's amazing. Just what he did, just how he just made so many amazing catches every game. He was so fast, so athletic. I mean, just throw it up and he's gonna come down with it. So, I mean, that's kind of who I want to be like growing up for sure.
So I mean, I think Randy Moss. I mean, it's tough to say him and T.O. aren't the two best receivers of all time. I mean, as respect to Jerry Rice, right? I mean, I'm not a.
Yeah.
I played football growing up, but I was like a D lineman. I was a fat shit, so I couldn't run around for anything. And but receivers. I mean, when I look at receivers, I look at Randy Moss. He had everything. He was fast. He was enormous. He ran sick routes. While his goal was unbelievable. T.O. was more of possession receiver, but still had a deep. Like those two guys to me, and I was so lucky and to have watched them growing up, you know what I mean? And I can imagine being from Minnesota, seeing him there, and which actually is going to go into our trivia question later, but I'll hold off on that. I'll hold off on the trivia question. I don't want to give away too much. So you mentioned Randy Moss. Do you model your game after him? You're a big body type of guy.
Definitely. I mean, I feel like me and him are pretty much the same height, same weight, and everything. So I mean, yeah, growing up, I just always wanted to be like him. I'll play in the backyard, and I just be like, throw it up. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go do it like Randy. So I mean, that's pretty much the main person I think I try to kind of model my game after, and just watch a lot of his stuff. And just wanted to be like Randy.
You're a little thicker than Randy. Randy was a twig.
He was pretty skinny, but but I'm losing a little weight. I'm trying to cut down, just be fast. I want to be like that. So
well, in the CFL, I mean, you got to get that speed, right? It's a wide field. You got to get to the sideline before anybody else does, right?
Oh yeah, I learned that quick. Just coming to training camp, it's a lot of running. Get the running start every play too. That's extra, and then obviously it's a bigger field. You gotta. That's the name of the game anyway. Is speed. So
people don't realize that the 10-yard width is like it's a big difference, especially for a quarterback. Having to make that throw to the sideline is tough. It's super hard.
Oh yeah,
and those balls are huge. Which leads into my next question: lining up. Who would you have lined up? Who's the toughest DB you ever lined up against? College, CFL, in the NFL? Who's a guy that kind of stood out to you as like, oh fuck, I got to work for this one?
So I played a lot of good ones in college that I had some good matchups with. I remember C.J. Smith was a good one in college. He was probably the best one in college. But then, I mean, just coming every day with the Vikings when I would go against Xavier Rhodes. I mean, he was amazing. I mean, he was a grown man. I remember like my first time, one of my first days, we were doing like some one-on-one, just a one-on-one release drill, just a press release drill. And I went against him and he put his hand on me and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, man, this dude is strong. So that's when I realized, I was like, okay, yeah, this dude, he's the real deal, especially as a press corner.
We asked Xavier Rhodes is probably, I've watched film on Xavier Rhodes because of how good he is. Like, out of curiosity, I'll type in Xavier Rhodes film and then guys breaking down how good he is and where he sets his feet and how strong he is with his hands, and you just proved it to. And I mean, it's crazy how we don't realize how strong these DBs are. Some of them are little skinny guys, but they get a hold of you. And you're kind of
that's the thing. Like, especially me as a bigger receiver. Like most receivers, or most DBs, they put their hands on me. I'm just like, okay, let's get that off. He put it on me. I was like, get the head off,
We asked DJ the same question when he went to the Giants training camp out of college, and we said, who'd you line up against? And he said the first guy they lined me up against, who was a rookie, also was Sterling Sharp. And Sterling Shepard, sorry, no Sterling Sharp.
Shepard, yeah.
If you lined up with Sterling Sharp, I don't know how you'd be playing today. But he lined up against Sterling Shepard, and he was like, it's just a different level, man. It's like you don't even realize how quick you can get humbled in a situation like that. Where you think you're this guy, you've been good your entire career. You've been the guy, and then all of a sudden, some guy just makes you feel this small.
Man.
So what's Alex? Go ahead.
And as a receiver, what's your favorite route to run?
Man, so I got a lot of favorite routes. So my favorite thing in general is just like running with the ball. Like I just love yards after the catch. So that's my favorite thing. But I love post probably. That's probably my favorite. I ran a lot of those in college. But yeah, this post route is probably my favorite. But I mean, anything that I can catch the ball and run. So anything like a slant, anything across the middle, anything that I can get the ball in my hands. I just love running with that. So
and I've noticed with the epic game you guys had against the Blue Bombers, when you won 38-37, you make the last catch. Remember for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That route was amazing. The catch was amazing as well. So yeah, that's what I had to ask you the question. So you were amazing.
Oh yeah. Me and VA actually worked on that play a lot. So that was pretty awesome getting to have that come together for the end of the game. We were on the same page too. I remember VA threw that pass and I was like, please don't hit the goalpost. Please don't hit the goalpost. It was close and it was perfect throw right there. So
I mean, we had news coming out last week about the CFL and the XFL. I don't know if Minnesota has an XFL team, and if there's a merger involved, I don't know if you guys have heard anything, if the Players Association has said anything to you guys. What's the news coming out with that?
Yeah, so I've heard that as well. Nothing really from the CFL. I think the only thing the CFL said is probably not for this season. I think we got an email saying that. But yes, I mean, in the future, I think down the road, there's talks about it. And I mean, I've heard just like my friends have told me about what that might be speculating. But I don't know if we know for sure. But I mean, it sounds pretty cool. Just kind of see exactly what they have in mind with that. But if it is, like one of my friends was talking about how we might go across the border, play some games in the U.S. and play U.S. rules, and they have to come to Canada and play Canadian rules. And then we have like our still playoffs in the Grey Cup. They have their XFL championship, and then we play winners. So I mean, it sounds pretty cool. Whatever they have in mind, I think it'll be pretty amazing. I think it'd be good. Draw some fans out.
I don't see why it would be an issue. Like I know people are scared that that a lot of the Canadians and non-imports are gonna lose their seat, but if they can guarantee a certain amount of non-imports for the CFL, I don't see it being an issue. Guys like DJ, who's a Canadian kid, he's not gonna lose his job to a player that just might have been recruited highly or whatever the case may be. A guy like him, and so it's I see it as only as a positive as long as they make sure to keep the same infrastructure in the CFL, because the problem with the CFL is that I mean, it's not a problem. I mean, we want to put the best product on the field, but they have this certain amount of non-imports they have to keep on the roster, and as long as that doesn't change, I don't see any issue. I wrote a blog about this a long time ago where I said the CFL and the XFL should be like a minor system to the NFL. In terms of like example, let's say the NFC East, their minor team is the Montreal Alouettes as an example. So all the players drafted 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round, and the free agents that they signed, if they didn't make the team, then they get sent to the CFL. They get sent to the Alouettes. And kind of like you create like an AHL, like a minor system, like AHL is for hockey. You create like a minor system for the NFL, and it was just something that I wrote about, and it's not a crazy idea. I just think it'll take a few years, like you said, for it to come to fruits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I mean, that sounds pretty awesome to do, and who knows, couple years down the road might be. Yeah,
as long as it doesn't interfere with golf season, right? That's all that matters. I'm getting ready. I'm hitting the range tomorrow. It's gonna be my first day.
Oh yeah.
I'm hitting the range tomorrow, and we'll see how it is. I'll probably slice a few left, and it is what it is.
And other than golf, what else do you do outside of football?
So I do a lot of other sports. I guess I play as many sports as I can. Love basketball, track, soccer, any sport that I can think of. I love playing all those. Obviously, golf I love doing. I even actually play a little hockey in the winter, some pond hockey with some friends, so I do that. It's a little Canadian in me, so
no, it's the Minnesota in you, man.
It's really just the Minnesota,
Mighty Ducks, man. I'm sure you grew up on that movie.
Oh yeah. Watched that many times as a kid.
Yeah,
and Miracle. Oh
yeah, Miracle. That's Minnesota right there.
Maybe what? DJ told us that he played hockey with Andrew Harris. So I mean, maybe jump on that squad. It sounds like I forgot who the third guy you mentioned was, but there's another guy that
Nick Dembski.
Oh yeah,
was it him? Yeah. So, and they have a line together and they play. So maybe you just jump in on that. Maybe we can make like a CFL, a kind of like a beer league for the CFL hockey players.
Yeah, those are beasts too. So yeah.
I can imagine there's a lot too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Especially all those Winnipeg guys playing some hockey probably all winter.
What are you going to be doing post football? Obviously, it can't last forever, right?
Yep. So when I'm done with football, I want to teach and coach. So actually, right now in the offseason, I've been subbing. I've been teaching at a local high school. I have a PE teaching degree. So I want to do that. And I've also actually been helping out a little bit with the football team this fall since we didn't have our season. So at the high school that I'm at, with them kids, just practicing with them, teaching them, so giving some pointers, working with the receivers. So yeah, when football is done, definitely want to do that, give back, and just impact lives that way. So.
That's good. And you have a newborn too, so you'll be able to impact him or her. Sorry,
him. Yep.
Perfect
yep.
golfing buddy for life, right there.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah, he's 10 months. I gotta get that club in his hands soon. Let him start playing.
Alex, you have a last question before we get to trivia?
Actually, two more. First, is there a locker room story that you can tell us?
Well, let's be specific here. All right.
Yeah, let's like a funny story, or either
like DJ told us a story about a guy dropping Dutch and destroyed the bathroom. Ben Cahoon told us another story relative to crapping your pants. Maybe something similar to that. Along those lines, at that level.
Along those lines. Man, I don't know if I have any stories along those lines, man.
You're a good Christian boy, Jake. You probably wouldn't have those stories.
Yeah, exactly. So one story that I do have from the locker room the first thing that came to my mind when you said that, even like you talked about a Christian boy. So before the games, we had this pregame prayer, and then Jeremiah Johnson, one of our running backs from last year, has an amazing voice. He's an amazing singer.
Oh, okay.
And so
nice.
before every game or before the pregame prayer, he would sing the song. It's talking about prayer will change things. And people used to come to the pregame prayer just to hear him singing, just to sing along. And one day we had him singing in the locker room, and the whole locker room started singing along with it. And it was the coolest thing ever, honestly, just to hear everybody just basically just singing praise to God. It's something you don't really see in a locker room. So that was pretty special. I always remember that. I got a video on my phone of that.
Oh, nice. That'd be cool. That's sick. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like a group of guys singing together. I think it's the ultimate bromance, and especially when it's towards a goal, to win, to be good, and just get out there and get after it, right? So let's get to the trip. Actually, go, Alex.
And while that's a quick one, so you've been in Montreal for a year, and obviously probably noticed we have so many restaurants and so many good ones. What's your favorite restaurant, and have you tried poutine?
I have tried poutine. I've tried a lot of different kinds.
Yes.
And I'll say my favorite restaurant. So my wife is like a foodie. Like, she loves restaurants. So she loves Montreal. Like, we can't wait to get back.
Nice.
Just to go to. We got a whole bunch of favorite restaurants. She actually has a food blog, that she's posted a bunch of pictures of a bunch of places. But I think our favorite is Pamika. It's a Thai restaurant.
I never heard of it. You stumped me.
Pamika.
Yeah, me too.
It's a Thai restaurant. It's trying to think of what street it's on.
What part of the city is it in? Like
it's
like Little Italy, that area, like the Plateau.
Yeah, right off. It's right off the Orange Line.
Okay.
It's on the main road, Sherbrooke, I believe.
So the orange goes all across the city. It goes from the west all the way to the east.
Does the Orange Line cross over Sherbrooke?
There's a Sherbrooke station on the Green Line, which I think, it does. Yeah, it does.
Okay, it's somewhere around there. Yeah, Pamika.
Okay, so I think it's probably like around Vendôme or Villa Maria, Alex. Probably around there. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I love Thai food. I never heard of it. It's good.
Yeah, Pamika. Yeah. It's like Pamika.
Okay, cool. I wrote it down.
Pamika.
I'll
check it out.
I'm a foodie. Oh, I consider myself a foodie. I'm a foodie too, and I never heard of Pamika. But you know what? There's a lot of restaurants in Montreal that I never heard of, and it's a gem of a city when it comes to food. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And you said you ate a lot of poutines. Alex and I, you've eaten a lot of poutines. Alex unfortunately moved to California because he's an idiot. He can't eat a poutine in California. They don't sell cheese curds over there. So he can't eat it anymore. So where was your favorite one?
We have the tacos, man. We have the tacos.
Yeah, you get tacos anyway. You can't get the cheese curds.
We have tacos.
So where was your favorite poutine?
So my favorite one, it was at a restaurant. So I went with Boris Beatty. He took me and my wife there, and
the punter.
It was Boris
the punter,
the kicker. Yep. And it was like a it was known for their chicken. And I can't remember.
Oh, Ma Poule Mouillée. Everybody goes there. It's like at the corner.
It's packed. Like it's so hard to get in. It's hard to even park or anything.
Yeah.
And like they had like a different type of poutine. I think we had like maybe even like a buffalo sauce or something.
It's a Portuguese chicken.
Of it. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Ma Poule Mouillée. I think who else said that was their favorite, Alex?
Enoch
said it was his favorite too. Yeah, it's the go-to. It's the go-to. In 2010, my buddies challenged me. They're like, "You can't eat 100 poutines in 1 year," because I love poutines. Like they're my favorite thing. So, and I'm like, you know what? 100%, I can do it. Marco Briette included in that bet. Screw you. So I did it, and Ma Poule Mouillée wasn't on there. It wasn't open at the time. But to this day, I say Ma Poule Mouillée is probably the best poutine in Montreal for sure. And right across the street is a place called La Banquise, which tourists know as the best poutine in the world, in the city, but it's really not that good. But honestly, sometimes I'm there, I'm in line at Poule Mouillée, and I look across the street and I see a lineup at La Banquise. I'm like, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. But you, Jake, you and Boris, you guys know what you're talking about. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Boris has been there for a while. He do.
Boris is he's a seasoned vet in Montreal for sure. Let's get to this trivia. They're not too hard, but maybe I might stump you a little bit. First question's about South Dakota State. Player with the uncle in the NFL Hall of Fame played for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Who is that?
I played with him, Chase Vinatieri, his Uncle Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I saw the name. I'm like, Chase Vinatieri, is that his son? So I'm looking into him. I'm like, oh, it's his uncle. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And he's a kicker too, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, and he was a kicker. He was a great kicker too. He had a lot of big kicks. And yeah, he was 2 years younger than me. He was actually the same age as my little brother. Okay. But he came in and even played like both. He was trying to play receiver and he's a great athlete.
Oh, really?
Strong kid, good receiver, great athlete, and a great kicker too. So.
I mean,
and his uncle's a legend.
It's weird how kicking is like in genetics. I find like whenever your dad's a kicker, your son's a kicker. You know, like it's weird. But like your son might be a linebacker. You know, he might be a golfer. Hopefully he's a golfer so he can save the brain trauma. So you have the record for San Diego State, South Dakota State Jackrabbits for the most receiving yards, right? Total.
Yep.
Who has the record for the most rushing yards?
Josh Ronick does.
Yeah, he does have it. And when you said his name earlier, I'm like, fuck, he's gonna get the answer.
Yeah. So I played. Yeah. So I played. It blew my mind that he does because I played with Zach Zenner, who had 3 2,000-yard seasons in a row.
Yeah.
And I was thinking in my head like he has to be the leading rusher. Like this dude was amazing. He ended up playing with the Lions and a couple other teams. He was in the league for like 5-6 years.
Okay. So you would have gotten the question that I was going to put originally. I was going to put Zach Zenner. I'm like, who other than Josh Ronick, who's the second most in yards in history in Jackrabbit history, and it was Zach Zenner. I was like, he's for sure going to know that because he played with him. So I left it on the table.
Played. Yeah.
That's a shame.
But Josh Ronick's a legend. In my book, especially if you got more yards than Zenner, you got to be the truth.
Yeah. For sure, Josh Ronick. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, I recognized the name, and I searched him up. Like, oh, he played in the CFL. He's a class. He was there like in the late '90s, right? I think.
I think he played for a while in the CFL.
Yeah. All right, last question. It's a Minnesota Vikings question. It's a fan question. Okay. All 6. You have to name all 6 retired numbers for the Minnesota Vikings. You don't have to tell me who they are because the names are a little obscure, but I'm sure you can tell me 2 of them for sure. The names, but I want to know all 6 retired numbers.
So I got to say 6 retired numbers for the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
84.
No.
They didn't retire Randy Moss?
I guess not yet.
What?
That's a good trivia question. Is Randy Moss's number retired?
Yeah, that's crazy that they didn't do that. What about then 28? They didn't do AP?
Not yet. No, AP he hasn't retired yet.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
He hasn't officially retired.
Okay.
I don't have the page open anymore, but I'll find it.
They gotta get Randall. They have to. I don't remember what number he was.
John Randall?
Yeah.
No.
He's not retired?
No. I think he retired. I think they retired his number with another team, maybe Seattle or LA. I think.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I might not get any. I thought Moss and Randall would be for sure.
You're missing one that I'm shocked you haven't named yet. I'm actually shocked.
80, Chris Carter?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
And how about number 10? Who wore number 10?
Prince Arkansas.
Yeah, he's retired too. What about 77?
77. Page.
No, he was number 88. He's retired as well, Alan Page.
Okay.
77, he's retired because of how he passed away. He passed away in training camp.
Oh, Sperano?
No, it was Corey Stringer.
Oh, Corey Stringer.
Remember the Corey Stringer story?
Coach Sperano passed away during training camp when I was with the Vikings. I thought they were
it's
retired
true.
for him.
Wow, it's true. Wow. What was that like?
That was crazy. I mean, it was literally our first day of training camp. Like, instead of practice or doing conditioning tests or anything, we went to the funeral. And it was tough. But it was actually beautiful too. I learned a lot about him. I was a rookie. I only knew him for 3 months of OTAs and everything throughout the summer. Met him in May, and I learned a lot about him from the funeral. My only like significant interaction with him, I said hi to him and talked with him here and there. But during one of my first practices, there's no defense or anything, so he's out there giving us a look, and I'm a rookie. It's like my first day, so I'm going as hard as I can. And we're blocking, and there's no other defense except for him. And my job is to block him. So I go and I hit him as hard as I can. I'm driving my feet, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" Like, he got so mad at me. He got so mad at me. He's like, "Just, you don't need to hit me. Just touch me, or like just come up to me." And then he always every time we see him, he'll always just like shake his head, and we'd always just laugh about it. But anyway, like at his funeral, learned a lot about him as a man. Like he was an amazing man of God. Like he would show up to the facility before anybody else, light a candle and pray every morning. Learned so much about him. I had heard a lot of cool stories from his funeral. So it was actually a beautiful thing, even though it was a tough thing and a tough way to start the season.
It's a beautiful story, and it's how we're going to close off the show. We appreciate you coming on, Jake. Honestly, it was fantastic talking to you. You're a great guy. The rumors are true. You're a very awesome human being, I will say.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. It was a blast.
We appreciate you coming on, man. Again, this episode is brought to you by Mike's BBQ Rub. Visit Mike's BBQ Rub, MTL.com, and use Hot Sauce 10 for 10% off. We will be joining the tournament. If Jake's in town, he's going to be partnering up with me, cameras and all.
Yes.
And we'll see how good his father was at actually teaching him how to play golf. We appreciate you, man. Honestly, it was fantastic talking to you. Alex, as usual, peace.